The steak knife hovered above my plate, trembling just enough to catch the light. My father didn't shout. He never had to. Your classes are on hold until you stand in front of the entire school and tell them you're sorry for embarrassing Caleb. Across the table, my younger brother lifted his water glass to hide the slow victory smile I knew too well. My mother stared at her untouched peas like they might sprout answers. I lowered the knife with deliberate care, the clink against porcelain louder than any scream. Fine, I said. One syllable. That was all it took for them to think they'd won. My name is Vera Knox, and I was raised in a house where love was rationed and blame was hereditary. From the outside we looked perfect, matching holiday cards, color-coded calendars, a father who coached Little League and a mother who chaired every fundraiser. Inside, the world orbited one son, Caleb Knox, 16 months younger and apparently forged from gold. Dad, Dr. Marcus Knox, oral surgeon, believer in systems, kept spreadsheets for everything except fairness. Mom, Lila Knox, part-time realtor, full-time peacekeeper, would rather swallow glass than let a single guest suspect the cracks. I learned my place early. When Caleb crashed his dirt bike and needed stitches, Dad canceled my violin recital to sit in the ER. When Caleb forgot his lines for the 8th grade play, Mom made me feed them to him backstage while the audience waited. My report cards were great, his were miracles. My college brochures disappeared, his were framed. The final fracture happened in the junior parking garage on a Thursday that smelled like wet concrete and exhaust. Caleb had a freshman pinned against a support beam, knuckles white around the kid's hoodie. I'd seen Caleb angry before but never this cold. When he slammed the boy, Elliot, into the pillar hard enough for the crack of skull on concrete to echo, something inside me snapped clean in two. Security footage doesn't care about family reputation. By the time the clip reached the dean, the story was already twisting. Caleb had been defending himself, and I, having pulled my brother off, was the one who escalated. That night at dinner, Dad laid down the sentence like he was reading a prescription. A public apology. In the auditorium. Microphone. Tomorrow morning. Caleb chewed his potatoes and waited for me to fold. I always had. But that night I didn't fold. I said fine again, softer this time, and watched relief flood their faces. They mistook silence for surrender. Upstairs, I moved like a thief in my own life. Laptop open, browser history deleted after every search. I emailed the boarding academy in Boston that had recruited me for debate last spring. The one Dad called unnecessary expense. I attached transcripts, recommendation letters I'd secretly collected, the security footage time-stamped and saved under the file name insurance. At 1:17 a.m. the acceptance came through. Full scholarship, immediate dorm assignment, enrollment effective as soon as I signed. I signed. Then I packed 2 duffels, one for clothes, one for every trophy, ribbon, and certificate that had my name on it and nobody else's. I laid them on the carpet like evidence in a trial only I was attending. By sunrise my room looked stripped for renovation. I showered, dressed in the navy blazer I'd never been allowed to wear because it drew attention, and walked to school 40 minutes early. The halls were empty, fluorescent lights humming like they knew what was coming. I cleaned out my locker slowly, lovingly. Every textbook stacked, every sticker peeled. On the inside door I taped the single sheet that mattered. The academy's letterhead, bold black words. Transfer approved. I shut the metal door. It closed with the soft finality of a coffin lid. First period hadn't even started when Caleb spotted me. "You ready?" he called, loud enough for half the hallway to hear. "Microphones warmed up, sis." I didn't answer. I just kept walking. Phones rose like periscopes. He jogged after me, voice cracking. "Vera, tell me you didn't." I spun the combination on my locker one last time. Let him see the emptiness. The letter fluttering like a white flag of victory. His face went the color of old paper. "You sent the video," he whispered. "You actually sent it." I met his eyes, really looked at him, for the first time in years. "No," I said. I just stopped deleting the truth. The office was waiting. Dean Hargrove, my counselor Ms. Delgado, and a thick envelope sealed in crimson wax. Behind me the door burst open. Mom's perfume, Dad's panicked breathing, Caleb's ragged inhale. Dad started blustering about parental rights. Ms. Delgado slid the contract across the desk. Vera turns 18 in 6 weeks. She's within the early enrollment window. Everything is legal. My phone buzzed on speaker. Shuttle leaves for Logan Airport tomorrow at 6:30, Ms. Knox. Looking forward to having you on campus. Dad reached for me. I stepped back just once, and the distance felt like an ocean. Mom started crying. Caleb looked suddenly 12 again, small and lost. I felt nothing but the steady beat of my own heart telling me it was time. I walked out between rows of silent students who parted like I was contagious or holy. No one tried to stop me. The morning sun hit the glass doors and exploded into gold. 24 hours later, I stood on a hill in Boston with wind that tasted like beginning. My new dorm window overlooked a quad full of people who had no idea what I'd walked away from and didn't need to know. My phone held 17 missed calls, 32 texts, 1 voicemail from Mom that I deleted without listening. I opened a blank page on my laptop and typed a single line. Some cages are built with love. The quietest way to escape is to stop asking permission to leave.